Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Night After Night, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Lisa Fernandes, and
I am Christopher Jayawardena.
And we're here with Dating Slump. We're still in season 1, still trucking along. This was directed by Alan Meyerson, and it was written by Arthur Silver. Now, Meyerson, as we discussed before, had a really interesting directing career. Christopher does a little bit more research on that subject, and I think he's ready to share that.
Yeah, so in looking at Meyerson, I mean, it was cool that he this is one of those guys that essentially you could call almost like sitcom royalty in terms of the amount of stuff he did. I mean, this guy just did so much TV and directing. He was able to do an episode of Miami Vice. He did an episode of Jag in '99. Ally McBeal. I'm still scrolling through this. I mean, I've really just kind of taken in awe of the fact that this guy has had such a, or should I say had? Yeah, it claims he's still alive. Born in 1940, does not have a death date. So hey, if you're out there listening, Mr. Meyerson, good job, good show. My God, he even has an upcoming project reported on IMDb, but you can't always trust those. Cool. But yeah, it's been fantastic to see just how much, the scope of which that he did. And yes, so if you're wondering, will we be hearing this name again? I say yes, you will be hearing it at least 9 more times through this show.
Yep. There is an entire season 3, who was directed by a single person, except for like 3 episodes, which is it was usual in sitcoms, especially sitcoms from the 70s. But generally, that's not something that tended to happen a lot because blah, 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 backstage drama, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to go there again. Anyway. Okay, this is what the episode is about. After Laverne bumps into Carmine at the Pizza Bowl, she learns that he met a girl in New York while boxing for the Golden Gloves Championship. And he tells her that he is in love with her. Shirley is brokenhearted and furious, especially when Rhonda convinces Carmine to give up boxing to teach dance, something Shirley's been trying to convince him to do for ages now. Shirley soon descends into such activities as taking apart the phone and staying home from work. To try and pull her out of her slump, Laverne places an ad in the paper selling a car the girls don't own. But when that doesn't work, out of desperation they head out on a double date to a pool hall that leads to a brawl. Will Shirley ever get over Carmine? So what do you think of this episode?
This was fun. This was fun. It's a little frustrating at parts just because it's definitely a very absurdist episode where it has to go with Shirley's depression after the breakup. But that being said, I mean, I've done some weird stuff after breakup, so yeah, I've been there, Shirl. I know what that feeling. When we get to the scoring, just a kind of a forewarning, yes, I'm going to take a whole point off just for Carmine being a jerk. And this is look, I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but this is you just don't do that. Yeah. You don't
do any of this.
You don't do any of this, Carmine. You know what? Actually, no. He is young and stupid enough. He probably doesn't know any better, but he should have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you should wait till we get to season 2. Wait till we get to season 4. You're going to be subtracting a lot of points.
Because God.
He does some doozies. She does some doozies back, but her doozies only seem to be in reactions to his doozies, so to speak. So I'm not going to say she's completely innocent, and I'm not going to say he's definitely not completely innocent. But as we get deeper in the show, yeah, the Shirley Carmine relationship mess, we've been discussing it from pod to pod to pod to pod whenever it comes up. And here it kind of exemplifies why they're good for one another in the aspect that they're very good at bringing out their more, I guess their more aggressive ambitions. Like, he's very supportive of Shirley when she starts getting like into stuff at work, like wanting to, and like we saw last episode with the bird, when she needs him, he's there. He's supportive. But when she doesn't need him, he's off gallivanting with other girls, and that's what makes Carmine annoying. And it's like, and then Laverne's stuck there trying to pick up her pieces.
Exactly.
And she's trying her best to do anything she could think of while probably trying to avoid putting Carmine right in the dick.
Yeah.
She's got amazing restraint.
I'm so amazed that there's no like real comeuppance for Carmine in this episode, and I understand partly why, because it's not a vengeance episode, but it's also a little. It felt I guess I wanted to see something like I wanted karma to bite this guy in the butt like so bad, like even just for like for the joke to even be literal enough that a dog named Karma bites him on the butt.
I would have taken that too, because he goes on to continuously like date women for money, even repeatedly dates women for money.
Leave that for Sam Axe, man. That's a Sam Axe trait. Don't be doing that.
He's Sam Axing it, and he doesn't have the Campbell charm to kind of balance out him Sam Axing it up.
He doesn't even. He barely even has a chin. He barely has a chin.
I would like to apologize to Eddie Mekka. No, I'm kidding. It's true though. Local boy Eddie Mekka, shout out to him. He tries. He spins like a whirling dervish in this episode, but God, it's hard to sympathize with Carmine like 90% of the time. And when the show asks you finally to sympathize with him as we get deeper into it, you can do it. You can sympathize with his dreams. But a lot of the stuff he does to Shirley just makes you want to strangle him. And it's just like...
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Yeah. I mean, look, listen, at this point, my sympathies for Carmine most of the time are going to be Missing in Action. And yes, that is a reference to the fact that Arthur Silver wrote Missing in Action 2 at the beginning.
Yeah. He did. I did not even find that. That's cool.
I looked that up a little earlier, and I've been holding it in my back pocket for the last like 5 minutes. Anyway, but yeah, it's a. But that being said, Carmine stuff aside, there's a lot to love about this episode. I think the Shirley absurdism is cute, sympathetic, and wild. And I love Laverne's delivery. You took the phone apart. It's adorable and it's funny and I love it. And the actual the date they go on, which I don't want to jump too far ahead because there's an actor we need to point out about that. But there's just so much, like there's really good physical gags. That this is definitely another one where the timing is like everything. It's so good.
My favorite part about that entire thing where Shirley's taking everything apart in total depression was Laverne just finding out that she took the bathroom sink apart and just immediately going, put it back together.
I love that. And
there's no way any other person in the universe wouldn't have the exact same reaction. Just like, if you've ever had to live without a sink for even a day, you will want share that sentiment. You will share that sentiment.
And I love the and even just the exchange of like, well, I wanted to know how the telephone works, Laverne. Don't you ever want to know how it works? All right, then how does it work? I don't know. I'm not an electrician. You know, I mean, it's
it's so good. It's so good. But the interesting thing that Laverne does is she mentions that Shirley and Carmine don't have that "I love you" love, which is interesting to observe when you see that. They've both gone out on the limb for each other, even just this early in the series. Later on, they develop that kind of "I love you" love. It happens, like right around 3 or 4. It really continues being a theme right through like 6 or 7, and it's interesting how Laverne just looks at the two of them and just sees her just basically using Carmine as a placeholder. Whenever she gets too ambitious with guys, well, she can't because Carmine's there. And she directly says this in the episode. I thought it was interesting. But this is also the introduction of Carmine's dance career. That's the opposite side of his whole boxing career, which starts to fade out. He becomes a former Golden Gloves champion after a while, and he focuses more and more and more on teaching dance and focusing on dancing and singing and trying to make it in theater. What do you think about this duality in his character?
I appreciate it. It definitely made him a little less of a cliche, which I liked. And it's kind of cool because they introduced him in the previous episode as having, a pretty, solid dancing physicality. And this is like, okay, so this is part of who he is. And I like that about the character. It's one of those, like, I wish under better circumstances we could have found this out. But
oh Jesus.
But but it's cool. I guess also what I appreciate about it is that it is very much, I will say, of the 70s, because there were so many, like, movies with male dancers and dance studios run by male characters. I mean, this is, we're a couple of, I think we want to say this was 75, right? When this okay, so this is about
no, this is 76.
76. Okay.
Show debuted in 76.
So we're getting right at the cusp of Saturday Night Fever blowing up.
Yeah.
And we're getting like, I think we're a couple years out from that, and then that basically pushing so much of that forward.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean,
Grease, an urban cowboy, and then you kind of fall into this nadir hole with Staying Alive and Perfect aerobics, but same difference anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, that being said, I mean, you're still in the middle of the Bob Fosse era, because was All That Jazz was a few years before this, right? The Roy Scheider one.
I think when it won all the Oscars and is amazing. See the movie. Damn good movie. Depressing as hell. See the movie anyway.
Yeah, that's what I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it recently played at one of those Fathom events, and people said, like, there was a bunch of people in the audience that they saw it with who had never seen it, and like the ending happens and like pin drop silence. It was
for that ending there should be pin drop silence is all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna spoil it, but because what you see and what happens is like, and then what happened to Fosse.
Oh boy. Wow.
In the end, because Fosse is basically predicting his own death in a way, and then just a little bit later, he passed on.
Wow.
So that's the story. That's the story.
But
yes.
But yeah. I mean, I liked the element of Carmine getting to do that, because I mean, as I mentioned in the past, just I get frustrated with him being a cliche, and that kind of added something kind of different. That he's not just Italian tough guy. I mean, admittedly, he'll. Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but I know that's coming back very soon, where he's the muscle.
Yes.
But yeah, that was cool.
Girls hired muscle in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
He even directly says in this episode, if you ever need me for anything, if you ever need a friend, just call little Carmine. And he does that.
You come to me a little bit, trying to make sure that I'll take care of you and we're good, okay?
All I gotta say, kids, is that Carmine knows how to get you an abortion. This is basically hinted in canon.
Whoa, okay.
Hinted in canon.
Oh, God, wow. All right, yeah, okay. That's about as disturbing as realizing what Peter was talking about in Dawn of the Dead. Okay. Because when I first, because let me just put it this way. I saw Dawn of the Dead when I was young enough to not understand what Peter was saying when he says, not too late, and I know how.
Boom, boom, boom.
Again, come for the Laverne and Shirley. Stay for the references to George Romero zombie movies.
If you stay long enough, we'll somehow rock it back into Sam Raimi. All Sam Raimi all the time.
But anyways, yes. the moving forward though.
Yes.
The Jeep.
Yeah, the Jeep is so great. Such a great idea from Laverne, and such an inventive way to try to get men to come to the apartment without putting them in danger.
Right.
As a la Once Upon a Rumor, where you get all these perverts jumping at you. Of course, you do get Lenny and Squiggy jumping at you, but hey.
Yeah. Well, and with that being said, they're jumping at the chance of a Jeep. And I mean, that's what I love is how, like, they, even when they're trying to explain that there is no Jeep, they just will not take no for an answer. It's like, all right, $250. And that's my final offer. And it's like, no. So, it's like, no, $250. It's like, it just keeps going, and they treat it like this auction. Like, they're just, you're playing hard to get, which is, I love that that's like so much of way of their character of dealing with people in some respects. Because they're like, love us. We'll give you things. And it's like, it's like, I'm sorry, like, guys, you're lovable to us as viewers, but in real life, you have nothing really to give to us.
Yeah, no. That's what the girls say directly. Laverne says directly, I know they don't have $200, so it doesn't matter.
Right. And, I love that punchline.
I love the boys bringing them flowers. Even though they're clearly flowers just ripped right out of the concrete. Of somewhere. Some kind of concrete. Some kind of street corner window box that just yanked that right out. Lenny holding his one little pathetic tulip and with what looks like a rose and some baby's breath. And weeds. Lots of weeds.
Lots of weeds.
And
I love that.
Yeah. I just love. This isn't the first time that they bring the girls flowers, and they bring the girls flowers in various different ways. Well, it happens at least one more time, especially between Laverne and Lenny. and it's really funny and cute when we get there. But yeah, it's just the idea that they decided to do this. This will butter them up. This will get us a good deal.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, it does. And the I'm trying to remember if the first guy that drops by also has flowers as well.
I can't remember. I don't remember if he did. I cannot recall.
Yeah,
I cannot recall. I bet you he did. I bet you he did.
Yeah, because that's right. Because if they know they're supposed to ask for a woman at the door, then they're going to be already. It's like, well, I want the Jeep, and which, by the way, that's still my favorite from that whole gag. I do think my favorite line of that is, that a Jeep is the way to get single men to come to your apartment, which is like a great way of saying it's like only single men get Jeeps because they want to, pick up chicks basically. And so they're, and especially because they're a certain degree of desperate. They want
to look cool.
Exactly. Cool. Which, I mean, God, yeah. I mean, in when I was growing up, especially as a teenager, like every time I saw a Jeep, it always was some dude. And it was just some dude that like clearly was like single, was like, don't act like you're not impressed.
Yeah. It's kind of that joke on MST2K, the extension of my manhood car.
Yes,
and that's kind of what it is.
My manhood car.
The extension of my manhood car.
Yeah. Oh, was that?
That's exactly what I think of it. That just continued going on during the ages. As time has gone on, it's become Humvees, it's become SUVs. So.
Mm-hmm.
So that you want to kind of understand Laverne's way of thinking here. You really think about it.
I have an anecdotal story about that, but it's one of those. It's it's a funny story. Okay, I'll say this and we can cut it if necessary. But it's talking about this whole about cars and about how men their insecurities, right?
Yeah.
So I was at the Hollywood Theater seeing a movie in Portland. Yeah, of course I'm going to name check that. Hollywood Theater is amazing. And we coming out, and I'm trying to have a conversation with the friend I had gone to see the movie with, and suddenly this car with like this speedy sports car with no muffler just goes, off, to the side. And in response, I just had to just shout at the top of my lungs as he's leaving. It's like, we get it. Your penis is small.
Oh, that's a good one. That's what I think or say whenever I see that kind of. My favorite. Now, I live within the neighborhood of a high school, so whenever we hear these kids coming by with their loud radios, it's like, yeah, we get it, we know, yeah, come on, kids, you don't have to blast us in the next stratosphere, just so you can prove you have the nicest car in the neighborhood. It's that kind of theme. It's that kind of theme.
Yeah. It just, oh God, that just makes you think of all those scenes in Fast and Furious of everyone showing off their sweet decked out rides.
Yeah.
But that's another discussion for another time.
That got pushed back, that movie, didn't that get pushed back?
Yes, it did.
The latest one?
Yes, it did. There was a wonderful,
Oh, good.
But anyway,
yes.
But yeah, back on track though, the Jeep gag is hilarious, and it's funny to see. I guess one of the things I do appreciate about this episode is that you could see this sort of escalation of desperation of how it's getting to the point she's probably not really coming into work. She's trying to get time off. I mean, she's just in such a slump. She's in her in her robe or her nightgown or what have you. Basically, just constantly. It's like, oh God. And that's actually, by the way, I want to say one thing in both Shirley and Cindy Williams's favor, as well as the hair, makeup, and costume department. Shirley looks really cute as Frumpy. She looks just absolutely adorable.
Yeah. I've already previously told you this, but probably my favorite Shirley look is ironically when she's done up in drag dressed as Squiggy.
Oh,
I don't know why she is hot like that, but she is hot like that. I'm just going to say that right now. She looks great in that outfit, and I don't know why.
I mean, you showed me the picture, and that was pretty all right. I mean, I mean, it's no Marlena Dietrich in a suit, but not any. That's a hard one to find. I think Kristen Stewart's like one of the only ones that can pull that off.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the God, I feel like there was one more thing about the Jeep gag I was wanting to mention. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a thing I was going to say. The interesting thing about this episode is the way it compares how Laverne acts when she's in love and how Shirley acts when she's in love. Laverne apparently once fell in love with a guy who wrote "I love you, Laverne" all over his sister's face.
Oh God, that's right. Yes, this bit. Yeah.
Which, by the way, is the kind of thing multiple versions of her boyfriends that she dates throughout the show would do. So you can picture any number of them doing this to their sister, and it's like, and then you wonder, you look around, you wonder why she rejects certain guys when this is the kind of guy she goes for. But yet, you compare, the way she reacts to loneliness. Like, she did strip solitaire.
Right. Oh God. Yeah. That's one of my favorite lines from this episode. Yeah. Not to mention, wow, that'd probably be very popular as a request on OnlyFans.
Oh God, yeah. Sadly true.
I have no idea. I'm trying to think of how the rules would work, but anyway, that's for a different podcast. That's for Night After Dark.
Yeah, we'll get there too. Like I told you before, tell your mother to cover her eyes when we watch Playing the Roxy. That gets real adult. That gets real adult real fast, is all I'm gonna say.
Oh boy.
But yeah, you can compare. Shirley kind of goes into zombie mode. She starts ripping things apart. She starts taking things apart to try to figure out how they work. She's trying to occupy her mind, but she can't occupy her mind with what's normal to her to occupy her mind with. And Laverne, meanwhile, is just like, isolates. And we see that happens when she's miserable and other points in canon. She just like isolates and curls up into a ball. And Shirley's not quite isolated. She's kind of isolating in a room, but not quite, because she's also like, out with Laverne, taking apart things, doing this, doing that. But the difference between them there is very, 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 very interesting to me. That was neat.
It's also, I think, shows how Shirley's insecurity also has to do, I think, a bit with, I guess Laverne is more upfront about how, or in the sense that she's easier to read in that she says, I don't care what anybody thinks, but obviously she really does. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Shirley, on the other hand, is kind of less honest in the sense that she's, it's like, oh, no, it doesn't matter to me. But the low that she hits is so much lower. And I think that she really, really values a certain sense of validation. And and I just remembered, we do get to find out a bit more of why that is. But it's like she feels, but I guess, it's like she feels as if when something, especially something so pivotal to kind of the, one of this cornerstone of her life is removed. She's trying to reestablish her equilibrium and having a devil of a time doing so. And that's a particular sorrow that's very deep. And again, it's one of those, I had to admit, I can relate. I've had a couple of bad breakups where it was a bit like that, where it was like everything had to be figured out. And
the difference between the girls in that respect is simple. Laverne has like bad self-esteem. She has a dream. I don't want to reveal too much about like season 3. She has this dream where she has a nightmare that nobody will ever marry her or fall in love with her. And she dreams she's a senior citizen and still a virgin, and she's gained a lot of weight. And in that dream, Lenny and Squiggy come back into the girls' lives. Lenny finds her attractive no matter what. And he proposes marriage to her. And Shirley wants nothing to do with Squiggy, but Squiggy basically proposes to her not to be alone because he has melancholia and Lenny can't leave him by himself. And, as the dream goes on, it's interesting how her mind processes it. It's kind of like, how can anyone like me? I don't like myself. If I become fat, I will hate myself. And it's like, it's really deep and in a way for this like little silly sitcom where people fly up into Murphy beds. So. But that's her like psychological depth. And then Shirley is, like you said, controlled. Very controlled, trying to, mother hen her way through life. she's the one everybody looks to because she's both a dreamer with her head in the clouds, but she's got all those practical tools that's going to get her there. And everybody needs her because she's the only one who knows how to do practical stuff in a way, a lot of ways. So yeah, that's the dichotomy between them. That's something that I've noticed.
Yeah, it's a really good. I think that's a really good observation, though. I as you're explaining all this, I mean, I definitely see it. I mean, we're only about 9 episodes through in our recaps here, but I mean, I absolutely agree. I see it. It's a clear definition, and I find one of the pleasures of the show is actually trying to see or trying to understand, and then also finding occasions where those are strangely almost compatible, if not like similar. Insecurities and fears.
Yeah. As this goes on, as the show goes on, the girls will both tame these fears and will get their dreams will come true, as the theme song says, but in different ways. Laverne really doesn't get to have her dream come true because we don't have an actual series ending. Sadly enough to say. But Shirley kind of gets her dream and kind of gets to, grow beyond her limits when it comes to what the Carmine stuff and the way she limits herself and boxes herself, doesn't let herself go forward either to commit to Carmine or to commit to some hot doctor dude. So eventually we get there. So it's interesting. In a way, it's the way we do get progress. In a way, progress does arrive.
That's good. That is good. So I guess does that guide us into the double date itself?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of really cool things to mention in this scene. Go ahead, go for it.
So first thing, and this is what struck me immediately, is I hear a familiar voice. As Laverne's already talked about having started seeing this bus driver.
Yeah,
and I love that it's like he stands behind the wheel. He was doing this when I first laid eyes on him, as she makes a driving, a pantomime. It's Robert Hayes from Airplane.
Yeah, it is indeed.
It's Ted Stryker, and I remember mentioning this right away when we were watching this together, and so part of me was thinking immediately is like, oh God, he's a bus driver, like. Wow, I guess he really couldn't take landing another, out of control plane yet again. So, I mean, he had to do it twice. He had to do it on a plane and then on a spaceship. Poor guy. Anyway, but yeah, that was
Airplane
great.
2, underrated as heck.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's some wonderful. People call it like one of the worst sequels ever, and there's some gems in Airplane 2. It's the whole the door opening gag is fantastic.
Yeah.
But the thing I wanted to say about Robert Hayes is I love how different his character is from the one in Airplane here. It's a completely, it's so like, because in Airplane, everybody's so, like flat, that's the gag is everyone's playing it straight. And here, I love how like he hunches his shoulders and, his facial expressions in this are amazing.
There's kind of a level of goofiness in his portrayal, which is really enjoyable.
And how he responds to Moose, Michael McManus's character, the guy, especially when he has to reveal that, like, see, Moose and I have an understanding. See, I get him dates, and he doesn't beat me up, and and that works great. By the way, while I was looking up the cast for this scene, because I wanted to see if the folks behind the scene, some of the character actors in this, the day players and such, et cetera, were in anything else. Yeah. So Michael McManus playing Moose played another character also named Moose on a different show, which I wonder, like, was that like a thing, or was that like in his contract he had to be called Moose?
Royal Order of the Mooses.
Yeah.
Royal Order of the Moose.
But yeah, he was in it was an episode of Gemini Man, which for all our Mystery Science Theater 3000 fans at home, that was what Writing with Death was made out of, was the series Gemini Man. But anywho,
Things I didn't know.
Yeah. The fun thing also to look up with these is and I'll get past the actor stuff in just a second because this is the last one.
No,
this is good. The so the actress who plays girl number 1, the redhead, that shows up and helps to start the girls' side of the brawl. Yes. She's in Savage Streets. And
I had no idea that's Carolina White, isn't it?
That is indeed.
The lovely Carolina White, who returns and becomes a regular in the series as Big Rosie Greenbaum in season 2. I was just going to mention her.
Awesome. And
she is amazing and one of the best things the show will have to offer in this mid-stretch.
Very nice. I'm glad to hear that because I loved her in this, and I've also liked her in other stuff that she's been in. She's also she's been kind of a day player in other pictures. I mean, the only place I mostly know her from is she plays one of the cops in Falling Down during the. I think she's one of the cops that comes to the Whammy Burger after that incident. I didn't
know.
Yeah, but that was a cool one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so this is cool that, so bringing up these actors is kind of key because, you want to pay attention to these faces because when you get to this scene, this is like fantastic physical, facial, timing comedy. This is one of the best comedic sequences, in my opinion, through the entire season so far.
Yeah, yeah. It really, really works. It works on multiple levels and just builds and builds and builds at the crescendo where until Laverne gets to that immortal line, touch my L, sweetie, and your teeth go to Peoria.
I love that so much.
I love it too. That's pure Laverne. Pure Laverne. Pure Laverne.
Mm-hmm.
And it culminates in an off-screen brawl that we don't get to see. But the girls get to walk in afterwards, and they're proud of themselves. And that definitely reminded me of their Happy Days characterization, where they would just beat the hell out of each other in the ladies' room.
Mm-hmm.
And over petty stuff, and they were really toughies. They could kick butt at the moment's notice.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely was them. There is a great blooper from that scene, by the way, where the girls, the two, Penny and Cindy, did not want to see each other made up post-brawl until they got to the set, so the reactions could be fresher. They took one look at each other and burst into laughter and couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
That blooper's out there somewhere. I will try to look that up to hook up our fans, so to speak, and put it out there. But yeah, that is a really good blooper. That's what I think of the most when I think of this particular episode. The two of them just looking at each other and cracking up.
Oh, that's great.
I think that was a Dick Clark blooper, regular Dick Clark, one of his highlighted bloopers during the series in the 80s.
Yeah. I can totally understand why, because I mean that's a wonderful bit of absurdism of they're supposed to be beat the hell, and instead of responding, oh my god, what happened to you, they burst up laughing. Like even just that concept alone is funny enough.
It's great. It's great. It's a great blooper. It's a great scene. Great little tag and ending to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, Carmine and Shirley kind of managed to get some kind of friendship going. They're all connected in friendliness, and then we move on. As we move on, though, in the series, even by the end of the season, you're like, are they just friends? Or they still dating? Still always there? So
yeah. It's okay. This is kind of dark, but like I can see that the only reason Carmine wouldn't cheat on his girlfriend to sleep with Shirley is just simply because he knows that Shirley won't do it with him.
Shirley will not do it with anybody. There is a full-on great gag in Lenny's Crush. I can't wait till we get to Lenny's Crush, where Squiggy thinks that Lenny slept with Shirley. Because Shirley happens to be in her slip holding a blanket up when he comes in looking for Lenny because he thought he was swept to the sewage treatment plant and got chemically treated. He looks her up and down, and he goes to Lenny, I hope you had a good time. I could never get her clothes off. And,
oh, God.
And then she's just horrified. Lenny's like, no way. And she's just horrified. She goes, no man has ever had a good time with me.
Oh my God, that line. Oh man, that's a gem of a line. Oh boy.
Shout out to Judy Pioli for continuously breaking my heart with that episode.
Gosh. So anyway, the other thing also, I guess I just wanted to also point out at the end of this episode is, as much as I give Carmine as a character a lot of crap, Eddie Mekka as an actor really nails some of the beats in this scene, in the ending and throughout this episode. Well, kudos to Eddie Mekka. Sorry about the chin. But
it's gonna be a running joke, isn't
it?
it?
I ain't exactly no Kurt Russell myself when it comes to chin, so I'm not gonna work. I'm not gonna do that.
Not all of us can be Bruce Campbell. That's just why. Who would want to be Bruce Campbell?
But
do you want to live on a 40 million acre lavender farm? Anyway,
hey, as long as we're not the redesigned Chris Redfield in Resident Evil 7. Ha! I knew this one session I was going to reference something Resident Evil related. But yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, back on track.
Okay.
But Eddie was good. Eddie was very good in that scene.
He's really, really good. He's got some really nice moments throughout the series. He doesn't get like a really, really good showcase episode. He gets a lot like in season 8. He gets a lot in season 6 and 7 because that's when Penny and Cindy were at their height of their feud, and they didn't want to be on the set, and they were fighting and blah, 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 yada, 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 fist fight, blah, blah, blah. So let's focus on the boys. So you get a lot of episodes during that era. But whenever he's given something, he can really pull good things out of it. He has his first really, I guess, centered episode in season 5. Which is the dance about him trying to get a dance studio, and he does a whole dance routine based on Gene Kelly, who was his idol, based on the work of Gene Kelly, and it's really good. And he manages to emote a lot with his dancing. But even as just when he's sitting still, he does know how to kind of project Carmine's cocky confidence, and also give him the soft point, the softness. That really works. That really works with the character.
Yeah, and one of the things I also have to say also is like even like just the subtlety with which he then says, Shirley asks him, just can he still call me Angel Face? And and he does. And like that little delivery is really nice. It also reminds me of the other thing is that Carmine, my man, my boy, buddy, guy, listen. You leave one girl, things you called that girl, things you did with that girl, you leave those behind. You don't do that with the next one. You don't do that. God,
I don't believe I completely forgot until I rewatched this that he had called Rhonda Angel Face, which is like a real major violation of the relationship.
Yeah, it's sort of like the unspoken code. It's like you're not supposed to. It's like we all sort of know this. Like, what the hell, man? What's going on?
It's like he's inserting a tab into a slot instead of treating them like individual women. And it's gross. It is gross.
Ugh. Oh God.
Carmine.
Okay.
Oh, Carmine.
But yeah. Anyway, this is. So what do you rate this episode?
Just for the brawling and the pool scene alone, just for that alone, this is about a 6 for me. Right around a 6 for me. The whole brawl part and the iconic lines make it required viewing, just so you get that gestalt of who the girls are and what they're like when they're in love. So it's about a 6.
Really?
What do you think?
On scale 1 to 10, I'd put this at a pretty solid 7, to be honest. A lot of it is it's the pool scene. I think the type of comedy and that banter, I think, really worked for me. And especially the aspect where I remember noting when we were watching this together, and I said, like, oh my God, this show just got interrupted by a John Waters movie, was like that aspect, like that really sold me on a lot. Yeah. So yeah, like I'd give this a really solid 7. But yeah, I mean, I would give it an 8, but sorry, Carmine takes a point off of that for me.
Oh, Carmine, just ruin it for everybody. Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, Robert Hayes is hilarious. McManus is pretty funny because I mean, I love how McManus says Moose, just like that swagger is perfect. And I love when Shirley does a little like punch tap where she doesn't even use her fists like head on. She just like kind of like taps her hand against him, like, Yeah.
And we know how hard she can hit. It's canonical that she could punch a guy out. Well, it was Happy Days canonical. She literally knocks Richie Cunningham out with a single blow.
Oh my God. I do remember that. Oh my God. Yeah. I do remember that.
That's probably because it was used heavily in Nick at Night bumpers. The place where TV hits.
That's right. Okay. That's right. Nick at Night.
Right in the jaw. It's great.
Nick at Night puns. Gotta love them.
Yeah. I miss Nick at Night, though, being Nick at Night, man. Nick at Night is Nick at Night, and you could literally watch an entire season of a series from like 7 at night till like 5 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the days.
Those are good times. Especially with the show. I mean, it depended if it was the show you liked. I mean, like I was a Mary Tyler Moore fan. I liked Happy Days a lot.
Yeah.
Dick Van Dyke was my favorite of the older ones that they played.
Yeah. It's real good. That's a real good show.
Yeah, I wasn't a Bewitched I Dream of Jeannie guy in the sense that the pattern of the episodes were just so the same. I love the characters. I didn't like the scenarios they put them in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because like I always rooted for Jeannie. Jeannie deserved better. She deserved to be free and to be her own person. I wanted her to go, get an apartment somewhere and a little puppy, and, get a job, like get a really cool job, like she's super smart. She's got magic. She can go work for NASA or something.
Oh no, I really want that. I want that to happen to reboot. Just for Jeannie and Jinjin. Jinjin was the name of the dog, right? I think it was Jinjin.
Yes, it was Jinjin. Yes. Yeah.
I love that. I remember that.
Oh man.
I love that. Wow, that was deep primordial memories. I was more of a Monkeys fan.
That's right. Yeah. I never got into the Monkeys, but yeah.
Oh, my mom was a fan. My mom ran a fan club, so second generation right from the start.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense.
Huge. Oh, she was huge in The Rock. She had a lot of fan clubs.
Nice. Your mom was pretty rad.
Oh yeah, she was. She definitely was.
But yeah, okay. But to conclude our Laverne and Shirley time with a bit of a slump. Yeah, so it's a good episode. I mean, has a lot of stuff for, I think, fans of the show. I definitely agree that it's definitely a required viewing just for context, for character development, and some very good comedy. It's definitely one of the ones that the physical comedy really works here. And it's good for John Waters and Airplane fans. So
it's a good one. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hit far, far, far deeper lows during the course of this journey. Far deeper lows. So that's it for this episode, I think.
I think so. Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody, for checking in with us on Night After Night. If you'd like a little bit more, just see about checking out the other episodes of our show. And make sure to, if you like what we do, to follow us on Twitter or The Face of All Books, or maybe even give us a little support on Patreon. We have some incentives coming up. They're going to be quite nice. And we're also on the YouTube where you can find these episodes, as well as on other platforms. And I think, that's kind of the main place. We're mostly Night After Night Pod, except for on Twitter, where it's Night After Night PC, because Twitter doesn't like whole words or big things. We can't have nice things, is basically what Twitter kind of says, which I think a lot of us have understood for a while now. Anyway, so the next episode. Oh, I just remembered which one we're doing next.
Oh, yes. Yep. Shirley tries to go out for a beer tasting job at the brewery. She gets drunk right at the first attempt and somehow gets hired. And we find out why she got hired. It's in the water.
Indeed, it's in the water. And yes, it's got to make sure it's just the right proper amount of skunky.
Oh, God. That was good.
Yeah, thank you. Wolfgang. Oy.
Yeah, Wolfgang.
Anyway.
The show's issue with rape. Here we go again.
Yeah. So just be warned about that, folks. Anyway, well, thanks. Yeah, thanks again for joining us, and Lisa, thank you as always for doing this.
As always to you, Christopher. Thank you as always.
All right, and I guess until next time, everybody.
Bye.